Hello, everybody. Namaste and happy Sunday to you. My name is KJ Hamus, and this is our Sunday evening Yin Yoga practice. So for tonight's practice, you'll want to make sure that you have a couple of things with you just to help support you in your practice and help you feel a bit more comfortable. 2 yoga blocks or yoga block equivalents, books, board games, whatever would feel good for you. A yoga bolster or pillow, or maybe even a couple of pillows, you never know. And then I'm currently sitting on a blanket, so you may want a blanket or a towel as well. The blanket can be used as an additional prop or for warmth because the body does tend to cool during the yin practice. So if you're new to the practice at yin, a couple of things to keep in mind as you move throughout the different shapes we'll take. One is to focus on the appropriate depth for the body. So truly and really meeting yourself where you're at this evening. And that means listening to it, maybe not going super deep into a pose, because through finding the appropriate depth and then through finding stillness, we're going to slowly ease into the body. So stillness is a big component of this as well. If you do move throughout the practice, just make those movements mindful, because sometimes the movement is energy needing to work its way around. And then finally is time. In yin, we hold shapes for longer periods to help us get into the connective tissues, the fascia of the body. So we'll be holding shapes for anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. And I'll give you a heads up on what that is, not to just make it feel like it's forever, but just so you know how long we'll be holding things. So with that said, I welcome you to our practice this evening, and I invite you to take any shape that feels comfortable in your body to start. So whether that's a comfortable seat, maybe you come onto your back into a savasana, maybe you go onto your belly because that just feels really good. Child's pose, back up against a wall, whatever you need here, go ahead and start now by listening to your body taking that. As we draw ourselves into our practice, we take a moment to honor 2 very important things. The first thing that we take note of and that we honor is the land that we are on. We remind ourselves that a long time ago, this might have been somebody else's land. So in Washington, D.C., we are on Anacostan land. And so we send just a moment of gratitude to that tribe. We continue to be good neighbors to them. And as we start to come to our breath, we're reminded that yoga is a practice from ancient India dating back probably 5,000 years or more. And so for us to be practicing how we are this evening is a privilege. And we honor the roots of yoga by acknowledging that yoga was codified, it was systemized, it was gathered and put together by our Black and brown ancestors who came from India, who came from Southeast Asia. And that they sat underneath trees in caves, worked together to develop this practice. And so even though it likely has changed today, we still want to honor them and go to the roots of the practice and truly honor what has been given to us. Bringing an awareness to the breath and its natural rhythm. Drawing the focus to the low belly. Gently noting the soft rise of the inhale and the soft fall of the exhale. Doing our best to try to not control the breath, change the breath, just notice the breath. As we inhale, feel the belly rise. And as you exhale, feel the belly contract gently toward the spine. And as you become aware of this movement in the breath, observe where the breath is starting in the body. And how does it move through the body? Is it moving freely and openly? Does it seem to be getting stuck in any particular place? Almost like a game of ping pong or whatever that arcade game was, the name I can't think of right now. Pinball, that's the one. So notice the breath. And what is the quality of the breath this evening? Is it shallow? Is it heavy? Is it comfortable or uncomfortable? Is it bringing along anything that is not serving you tonight? Is it bringing along a lot of things that are serving you? So just take a moment to observe and let these observations be with compassion and love and non-judgment. And then through that observation, you may have noticed areas that are a little bit tight, a little bit more bound, maybe in need of a little extra love. So take a moment, concentrate the breath into those areas. See if you can create a bit more space, maybe soften that which is tightened. Broadening your awareness, feel the weight of your body on the mat. Notice the temperature in the room and how that feels on your skin. See if in this moment you can become 5 to 10% more comfortable, letting yourself release a bit more into your mat, feeling the support underneath the earth, whether that's underneath your back, your belly, or even your sit bones. And we'll gravitate our awareness toward our heart space. Noticing how you feel in the heart and what emotions you're bringing in with you to the practice. So again, approaches without love, with love and judgment, and with love and compassion, without judgment. No judgment here. And allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. So it's okay to be tired, anxious, annoyed, happy, joyous, whatever the feeling is. There's no right or wrong answer. So in this moment, live what you're feeling. Know that it's okay. You can bring that to your mat. You can bring that into your practice. Without worry, without judgment. Feel free to stay in this spot a little bit more, maybe sending some breath to the heart space. And as you're ready, gently draw the focus to the space between the eyes, checking in with the thoughts and observing how they're moving through the brain. So notice if you're carrying a lot of thoughts with you, if you're worried about what has already happened, what is yet to come, anything that could be taking you out of this present moment. If you can, gather up as many of those thoughts, whether it's on a cloud or in a hug or whatever, and then slowly and gently move them off to the side, maybe even throw them out of the room as best you can. Beginning to let the brain soften. You might help that by letting the jaw release, the roof of the mouth rise. Help us get into the parasympathetic part of our nervous system. And just begin to watch the thoughts gradually move in and out of the mind without engaging with them. And know that at any point during the practice, that if you do engage with a thought, that's okay. It happens, totally normal. Some days are going to be a lot easier than others. Just gently, when you notice, come back to your breath. So connecting mind and breath here. I invite you to start naming the breath. I am inhaling. I am exhaling. A mantra can help us focus in the moment. If this mantra or any mantra that you may have that's in your practice can really help distract you from the distractions of the mind in a good way. So consider trying that tonight as you move throughout. I am inhaling. I am exhaling. And we'll practice that for about another minute or so, so you can start to feel that in your body and let it soften. And as you're ready, begin to gently blink open your eyes, move any props you may have off to the side, and we'll start to come into a downward facing dog. No, downward facing dog is not a traditional yin shape. We're only using it as a gateway to our next shape. So come into your downward facing dog, your inverted V shape. Taking a couple of breaths here, maybe pedaling out the feet, being mindful with this movement. Maybe lifting your legs up. You can take some big, wide hip circles if you'd like, or bend at the knees and take those types of hip circles. Whatever feels good here. And as you find stillness again in your down dog after you've taken what movement you need, just like you to observe both sides of the body separately to start. So observing the right side versus the left side, not making any comparisons, but notice how active the side is. Notice any tension in one side versus the other. And then as you're ready, notice the whole once again. As you do that, are you more active in the right side? Are you feeling the more passive side of the left side of the body? Maybe the left side needs to be a bit calmer to balance out the right. So just take those observations now. And then as you're ready, float your left leg up to the sky. And as you exhale, draw the left leg underneath the right arm. And you're going to slowly slide on down as best you can. Have a little fun with the slide down. Let your back leg do whatever it wants. Let it go limp. We're going to come into a drunken warrior here. So the intention behind the shape is to work into the IT band of our left leg. So don't worry about it being this perfect, beautiful shape. Focus on how it feels. So let this idea of perfection, throw it out the window, throw it across the street. Flex the foot and begin to feel the stretch. Hip is going to come out, leg is going to come out directly from the hip. You can stay here if that feels enough, or you can begin to come down to the forearms, onto the belly, and this can be a great place for a blanket maybe, or even your yoga bolster or pillow. Just a place to have some lift in the chest. Try and let your head and your neck sink and breathe here. So again, working to feel the stretch on the outside of the left leg. Make the adjustments that you need to make to help you feel that sensation. And we'll be here for 4 minutes. So with those 4 minutes, slowly allow the body to sink into the shape. It's that time and that stillness that's really going to get out of the muscles and into the connective tissue, the really sticky plastic stuff. So coming back to the breath, naming it here. Breathe gently, breathe naturally, breathe slowly. Take what you need from the shape. And here I'll go silent for the rest of the shape, and I'll bring you out of it at the end of the time, so no need to worry. Feel free to allow yourself to truly close the eyes and soften the face. We have roughly 30 seconds left here. Continue to breathe deeply and breathe slowly. And take a full breath in, full breath out. Begin to slowly, as you inhale, lift on up. Taking your time, allowing moans and groans to happen if they happen, because that's totally natural. And then finding your way back to your downward facing dog, taking what movement there that you need, taking what's going to feel good in your body. Stillness might feel good versus movement. If that's the case, honor that as well. Maybe you need a vinyasa in here, or you have to go into headstand. All of those things are great. Honor that. And then as you're ready, after you've taken that movement, no rush to get there. We'll meet back again in downward facing dog. Just taking our observation, observing how we feel. Do take a moment to just notice how the left side feels versus the right. What differences do you notice, not only physically, but energetically and mentally? Was the breath able to move easier after this shape or even during it? Do you feel the effects in other parts of the body, not just the leg? And then as you're ready, float your right leg to the sky. And then as you exhale, cross the right leg underneath the left side of the body. Slide it on down. Let your back leg do whatever it wants to do. Let it go limp. Keep the leg coming out directly from the hip. Feel free to flex the foot if you need. You may even make some adjustments to how your hip is placed to help you feel the stretch along the side. Each side can be very different, so what you're feeling on one side may not be the same experience, and that's okay. We'll be here for 4 minutes. Always, too, if you're having a bony experience, depending on what kind of surface you're on, feel free to tuck a blanket or a towel underneath the bone of the hip just to help you feel a bit more comfortable. So you're not focused on that and you're able to focus on the actual stretch. About 30 more seconds left here. And as you're ready, take a full breath in and a full breath out. Begin to slowly lift yourself up, moving any props you're using just off to the side so you can still reach them. Finding your way back to your downward facing dog, taking what movement you need. Maybe that's pedaling out the feet. Maybe that's taking some bigger hip circles, whatever calls to you. You might even notice some differences in the shape from when you first started. You can check back in with yourself physically, energetically, emotionally, spiritually. Where are you at right now? Checking back in is always a good thing. And allow yourself to just feel what you're feeling and be where you are. And then as you're ready, slowly draw the knees down to the ground. Sit off to one side and straighten the legs out in front of you. We'll come into our next shape. We're going to come into caterpillar pose, which is a forward fold. So a couple of things with the forward fold. This is about opening up the back side of the body, not about reaching the toes. So we're not going to actively pull ourselves forward. We're going to let gravity and the time kind of get us to the depth that we want to be at this evening. If you find your hips tilting you back, sit up on something so you can lift and truly tilt from the hip joint. Right there. So that can be a towel, your blanket, or your block, or even a pillow. As you fold forward, you might want to keep a slight bend in the knees. You can even, if you need more in the back and not so much the legs, you can even place your pillow or your bolster underneath your legs. So let the hands fall where they will. Let the head release. And continue to breathe here. We're going to be here for about 5 minutes. And the pillow underneath the knees is totally optional. And at any point, if you are choosing this to start, you can remove it. Or you can put it under there if you're taking the shape without any props. If the head gets too heavy, feel free to support the head in the hand, or even maybe place a block on your legs so you have somewhere to rest it. As you're ready, take a deep, slow breath in and out. Go ahead and begin to lift yourself on up, nice and gentle. Take whatever movement feels good to you. Might feel good to just take like air pedals of the feet, if you will. Move any props off to the side. Hello, Chug. Let you run free and wild. And take a couple of breaths. Breathing here. And then we're slowly going to come onto our backs to set up for our next shape. We're going to take bridge pose for our next shape. And there's two different options that you can take here. So you definitely are going to want a block or a couple of blocks, depending on how you feel. So you're going to place the block on your sacrum. So really place it on the pelvis and not on the low back. So take a couple of breaths here, find that adjustment. And your knees are going to be up to the sky as I do this oh so gracefully. As you make that adjustment and you're here, you notice that you're using a lot of core to hold yourself up. Adjust the block accordingly, okay? So you can be here. So this is our first option. You can just stay here in bridge pose. Again, stacking up the blocks as you need, maybe using a block in your bolster, whatever feels good. This is just a gentle way to help us open up the heart, get into the back. So this is option one. Option two can be a little bit more compression in the low back, but it can also help us release the back by starting to stretch that out and work into the front side of the legs. And that will happen by extending our legs. So you can be here, or if you like some more support, you can place your pillow or pillows underneath the legs to help you just find that additional support and lift up. So totally up to you. Find what's going to feel good and breathe here. So slight back bend, and depending on what variation you take, the stretch may start to feel a little deeper in the body. We're going to be here for another 5 minutes, so definitely find what feels comfortable for you, knowing you can always mindfully adjust as you need to. As you're ready, slowly begin to remove your block. Move any props you may have off to the side. Take what movement feels good. It might feel good to straighten the legs, take a full body stretch. Maybe you bring the knees into the chest. Take a few circles on the ceiling with the knees to massage out the low back. And then find a place for just a moment of stillness, whether that's with the knees up to the ceiling or the legs out nice and long. Just pause here. Notice how you feel. Notice the breath in the body. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. The next shape we're going to take is banana pose. So bringing your legs nice and long if they're not already there. Extend your arms overhead, keeping them on the ground. So we're going to stretch out the left side of the body first, keeping your back and your seat on the ground. Begin to rotate your legs toward the right side of the body. And then as you're ready, let the upper body follow, almost making a C on the mat. So the stretch that we're working on feeling is, again, in the IT band, through the side of the body, so into the intercostal muscles of the rib cage, and even up the side of the arm. You may notice that your shoulders don't want to touch the ground, and that's okay. Draw the ground closer to you by strategically placing, where it feels good in your body, a blanket underneath the arms. Oops. Maybe it's underneath the wrist, or maybe it's up a little bit toward the shoulders. Maybe tuck it in under the shoulder as well. You can cross the legs, outer to inner, inner to outer, and that can feel a deeper stretch along the body. Do be mindful of the knee, though, as you do that. That could create too much pull along the knee, and that doesn't feel good. So you might consider uncrossing there. Always feel free, though, to take a different position with the arms if that feels better. You can release the arms to the sides. Maybe you can do opposite elbows. So play around with it. Explore what feels good in your body. We'll be here for 4 minutes. As you're ready, gently begin to find your way back to the center, combining the legs, again, taking any movement that you might need. And as you're ready, let's begin to make our way to the other side. So from here, we're going to stretch out the right side of the body. Arms are long. Begin to lean the arms and the legs over to the left. Just because you crossed on the other side does not mean you need to cross the legs on this side. Listen to where you're at. Feel free to place any props underneath the arms as you need or let them release. And we'll be here for 4 minutes. And always, too, if you're feeling a little too much tension in the back, maybe place a blanket under there. Or consider seeing about lengthening a little bit, maybe tucking the tailbone, seeing if that helps the compression. So take those adjustments. Feel free to explore that if you need it. And as you're ready, begin to slowly transition back to center. Take any movement that feels good to you in your body. And then as you're ready, roll onto one side. And as you feel settled here, Pausing even for a brief moment. Begin to just lift your way up. Our final shape is going to be a variation on a supported butterfly pose. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you've got your blocks or your books, as well as your yoga bolster, and even a blanket or a towel here, okay? So with your blocks, you're gonna place them one right next to each other, long-wise, together, and then take your pillow and place it on the opposite side so it's closest to you. Your blanket, folded in about threes, is gonna come over the pillow and rest along the edges. Feel free to prop yourself up a bit more if you need it. Then scoot your bum up nice and close to that whole setup, placing your feet on the blocks, soles of the feet to touch, knees out wide, supported by your pillow. And then from here, just lean back. Let the hands fall where they will, and try and release everything into the earth. So feeling completely and fully supported by the blocks, the pillow, and the blanket. Let go here. See if you can soften just a little bit more. Allow the hips to sink down. Let the head feel heavy. The muscles around the eyes soften. And even allow the tongue to rest in the bottom of the mouth. You might begin to feel it wading in a pool of saliva. That's okay. That can help us once again get into the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. As you're ready, if you want to, begin to transition to Savasana, final resting pose. You can keep the legs right where they're at, maybe just extend them out nice and long. You can move all the props off to the side. Whatever's going to feel best for you and your body. Again, stay in that supported butterfly shape. But let whatever you choose be a place of complete and true rest. You may even consider using one of your props for just a little bit of extra weight on the body, or even placing the blanket over you for warmth. As you're ready, take a full breath in Exhale, sigh it out, let it go. You are here. Go focus, go control, and just be. Begin to reawaken the senses. Maybe taking a couple of deep breaths here. Invite some gentle movement into the body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, taking really big stretches, whatever you need. Taking your time to slowly, gently transition to a comfortable seat. No rush to get there. Just taking a moment here to observe how you feel, to check back in. Maybe noticing differences between start to the end. Noticing what stayed the same. As we lift our hands to our heart space, we bow our heads in gratitude, thanking ourselves for making time for our mat, for showing up, and then thanking those who joined us this evening to create this virtual community in this virtual space. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Thank you all so much for joining me and letting me serve you this evening on this Sunday evening. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I look forward to practicing with you again. Bye.